When it comes to Social Security, as with most things it gets its hands on, the government has taken what should be a simple system and turned it into a Rubik's Cube. But unlike a child's toy, making mistakes when claiming Social Security can mean leaving ten or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. The Social Security claiming decision might feel like just choosing a start date, but it can be one of the most expensive and risky mistakes you can make in retirement. So in today's video, we're going to walk through 3 things you should do before you even consider filing for Social Security. I'm Eric Amzalag. I'm a certified financial planner, and I'm the owner and founder of Peak Financial Planning. I've spent thousands of hours teaching retirees how to retire with confidence, and Social Security is one of the most misunderstood and misused pieces of that puzzle. So today we're going to go through a framework that I call the Social Security Sequence Check. You'll not only learn how to avoid the most common mistakes, but also how to position your benefits inside a broader income and tax strategy. Now, the 3 checks that I'm going to show you today form a strategic sequence that ensures that your Social Security decision doesn't undermine your financial plan, it supports it. So let's just get right into things. The first step in the Social Security sequence check is to check if you're eligible for ex-spouse or survivor benefits. Now, we've worked with multiple clients in just the past year alone who had no idea that they could collect a significantly increased benefit on either their ex-spouse or their deceased spouse's record. One client in particular had a deceased spouse from a prior marriage decades prior, and this client had never remarried after. At age 62, they started looking into their Social Security benefit options and found that by claiming on their deceased spouse's record, they could obtain an additional $700 a month in benefits when compared to claiming on their record. Now, assuming that the client had claimed at 62 on their deceased spouse's record and lived until age 85, they would have seen an increase in their total lifetime Social Security benefits of over $190,000. Needless to say, this is a massively overlooked opportunity. But even if your ex-spouse is not deceased, right, you're not a widow, and you may still be able to claim against an ex-spouse's record and obtain a higher benefit amount. Another client of ours had been a stay-at-home mom. At some point, she and her partner had divorced, and our client had never remarried and was therefore able to claim on her ex-spouse's record. She was eligible for 50% of her ex-spouse's full retirement age benefit, which was over $1,000 a month greater than her full retirement age benefit. Again, assuming that she had claimed at 62 and lived until age 85, the increase in her lifetime Social Security benefit would be over $250,000. $276,000 to be exact. And while there are some considerations that you should know about each circumstance, for instance, when it comes to survivor benefits, you can't take both your benefit and your deceased spouse's benefit, right? You'll have to pick. Or in the case of ex-spousal benefits, you had to have been married for at least 10 years, and you can't claim against their record if you've remarried before age 60, right? So getting the answer to whether you're in a position to benefit from either of these 2 claiming options is really as simple as calling your local Social Security office and inquiring. So if you're divorced, widowed, or remarried after age 60, don't make a Social Security claiming decision without checking with your local Social Security office first. It could literally add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your income over your lifetime. The second step in the Social Security sequence check is to do some math. Yes, delaying claiming increases your monthly Social Security benefit, but that doesn't mean that it's going to pay off. See, delaying the date that you start receiving Social Security involves a trade-off, right? You give up income at an earlier date in exchange for higher income at a later date. Your quote-unquote break-even age tells you how long you'd have to live before this trade-off has quote-unquote paid off in terms of total income received. And so if you live past the break-even point, your total lifetime Social Security income will be higher than it would have been if you had taken income as soon as possible. But there's still a problem with this calculation, which is that break-even points don't factor in what's called the time value of money. See, money now is more valuable than money later. In fact, we can actually run a formula that can define exactly how much more valuable, right? So I'm going to show you an example. On the screen here, you can see Cinderella. Cinderella is a retired 62-year-old woman. She was married in the past, but claiming on her ex-spouse's record provides no advantage to her. And so she's trying to decide whether to claim now or to delay claiming in order to get the increased benefit. Now, if she claims now, she would receive a monthly benefit that you can see here of $2,000 a month. If she waits to claim until age 70, her benefit would grow to $3,542 a month, so a $1,500 increase. And in our financial planning software, we can see that she would have had to live until age 80 years and 5 months in order to break even in total dollars. But in reality, that's not actually correct. See, if she were to delay claiming Social Security for those 8 years, two things happen. The first is that money becomes less valuable to her over time, which we've already said. And we can quantify this by using what's called a net present value calculation. Net present value is how you measure the value of future money in today's dollars. And it's a really critical formula that's used to evaluate different investment opportunities against each other. Net present value helps answer the question, if I'm going to get money in the future, how much would that really be worth to me right now? The net present value formula does this by discounting future money because it's less valuable than money you could use today. And this spreadsheet that I'm going to tab to here shows a net present value comparison for Cinderella. It's going to compare the net present value of her Social Security benefits at age 62 against the net present value of taking benefits at age 70. Now over here in blue, all the way on the right, we have what's called the discount rate. And the discount rate is basically the rate of return you could earn if you had that money to invest now instead of having to wait for it later. And this is actually exactly what is happening, right? You can see here on this other screen that if Cinderella wanted to spend $100,000 per year in retirement and she claims Social Security at age 62, she would have to withdraw $76,000 from her portfolio at age 62. If she waits to claim until age 70, but still wants to spend that same $100,000 a year, she would have to withdraw $100,000 from her portfolio. So effectively, if she claims at 62, she has $24,000 each year until age 70 that stays invested in her portfolio and continues to compound and grow. And the net present value calculation is effectively factoring that in. And so the discount rate that you see here on this sheet is actually the rate of return Cinderella could expect to earn on that untouched $24,000 a year that would stay in her portfolio. So we toggle back here to the net present value sheet, and let me illustrate this in practice. I've got this sheet set up so that Cinderella's age in this left column B here will turn yellow whenever the value of claiming Social Security at 70 makes more financial sense than claiming at 62 according to the net present value calculation. So if Cinderella's discount rate was 4%, right? That's the rate of return she would be earning on that untouched $24,000. Then her net present value break-even age is actually all the way down here at age 86, rather than the age 80 and 5 months that was shown in the financial planning software, which doesn't apply a time value of money calculation. Well, let's run a few other scenarios in the spreadsheet. What if we change her discount rate to 6%? What if she's actually earning 6% on her untouched $24,000 for those first 8 years? We change that in the calculator here, and you have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the sheet now, because in this scenario, you can see that her break-even age suddenly pushes out to age 95. All right, let's do one more. So what about a 3% discount rate? If we do a 3% discount rate, you can see that now her break-even age is down here at age 84. The point here is that the lower the expected discount rate, the earlier the break-even age. So if Cinderella had all her money in cash and wasn't going to have it invested, her break-even age gets earlier and earlier. But if she's going to have the money invested in something else, like the S&P 500 or even a 60-40 portfolio, whatever, then the break-even age pushes out later and later in life, meaning the more sense it actually makes to delay Social Security claiming, the higher the discount rate. But the lower the expected discount rate, the earlier the break-even age, meaning the more sense it makes to claim Social Security earlier. Now, the point here is to do your math. Remember, the government wants you to claim Social Security later because you will likely get fewer years of benefits, and the math will actually work out in the government's favor. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to delay claiming. In fact, there are still many scenarios in which that is the 100% right call. I'm just saying that it's not just by default always the right case to delay claiming. Okay, the third and final step in the Social Security sequence check is to consider performing Roth conversions before you claim Social Security. See, once you start Social Security, it gets harder to do efficient tax planning. And that's because Social Security income is actually taxable. For the most cases, it's if you're a high Social Security beneficiary, you're going to be taxed up to 85% of your Social Security benefits, which means it increases your taxable income, often pushing you into higher tax brackets and then causing more of your benefit or more of your, if you were to Roth convert, more of your money to be taxed at a higher rate. And so if you and your spouse, let's say you're a married couple, both have sizable Social Security benefits, and you also have significant pre-tax tax savings that might cause high RMDs or forced distributions later, you might want to consider doing Roth conversions before you claim Social Security, right? This can help you reposition funds while your income is lower, potentially saving you thousands in taxes you would pay today for the cost of the Roth conversion, but also potentially saving you tens or even hundreds of thousands in taxes you would pay by reducing future required minimum distributions and smoothing your income overall long term. Items 2 and 3 that we've talked about today on our Social Security sequence checklist often come at odds with each other, right? They're in tension with each other. See, oftentimes when you run a net present value calculation, you're going to find that claiming Social Security earlier is actually better than claiming later. But if you are in a position where Roth conversions make financial sense, either for yourself or for your heirs, you may find that the value of the Roth conversions exceeds the value of claiming Social Security earlier. Now, this is once again a scenario in which you'd really want to run the math to apply a net present value calculation to compare the two. See, you can think of both Roth conversions and delaying Social Security as investments, right? You pay a cost today to get a benefit later. When delaying Social Security, the cost of the investment, right, the cost you pay now is the form of higher withdrawals on your portfolio and the opportunity cost of leaving those funds invested. When doing Roth conversions, the price you pay today or the cost you pay is the cost of the taxes that you bring forward, right? You bring forward future taxes that you pay today in order to avoid future taxes and have a future benefit. But because both of these Roth conversions and delaying Social Security investments produce future benefits. And because the money is less valuable in the future, we need to again apply a time value of money calculation to determine whether those investments are actually worth it or which of those two is better. At the end of the day, the point of this video is pretty straightforward. Social Security is complicated, but also a highly influential piece of your retirement strategy. If you claim without checking for higher benefits that you might be entitled to, or if you claim without doing the math on when and how it fits into your bigger picture, and if you claim without timing it in coordination with your tax strategy, you are likely leaving tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. But if you run through these 3 strategic checks, right? Check for eligibility options, check your break even and your net present value, and then check your tax timing, you can literally transform Social Security from a Rubik's Cube, right? Literally a guessing game in the hands of a novice into a powerful income planning tool. Now, we help clients do this every day, and we consistently see how much more confident and secure they feel when the plan is coordinated. So with that said, if you want to see how we help our clients at Peak Financial Planning blend their Social Security with portfolio withdrawals, a tax strategy, and real-world income needs, click the first link in the description below this video to watch another short video I made. In that video, I'll walk you through how to create a retirement income plan that integrates Social Security in a way that works even when markets don't. Just click the first link in the description below to watch my free video. And if this video helped bring you some clarity, please subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. Thanks as always for your time and attention. See you in the next video.